Welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. We're just setting up for today. Type in where you're from as you join us. Type in where you're watching us from. We're in 69 countries around the world. We're live streaming onto YouTube at the very same time as being here in the Zoom room. We'd love to see where people are joining us from. So type in where you are joining us from as you join the event. And we have a 60-second timer. That's your opportunity to get hold of anyone you've invited to today's event. Make sure they're on. Alrighty, welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Firth here, one of the founding Field Advisory Board members of Noumi, and it's my pleasure to be your MC today. Having said that, I said to everyone as you're logging in, type in where you're watching us from. We're in 69 countries around the world, growing like a wildfire. And I can see people have typed in the chat there from California, Indiana, Ontario, Canada, Arizona, a lot of Americans and Canadians, more Canadians, New Zealanders, Jakarta, Indonesia, Canada, Michigan, Perth, Western Australia. So people from all over the globe, which is fantastic. Now, some people do not speak English fluently. So with that in mind, just going to quickly show you this, which is your opportunity to listen on in closed captions, or read, I should say.
Untuk mengaktifkan terjemahan bahasa Indonesia, silakan klik caption di panel laptop atau handphone Anda semua.
Para poder obtener la traducción en español, es necesario hacer clic en el menú de Zoom y elegir la opción Subtítulos en español.
大家好，如果你想看字幕，请按屏幕底下的 CC 按钮，选择中文。此功能仅适用于直播。
Bonjour, bienvenue à cet événement Noumi. Vous pouvez activer les sous-titres dans votre langue en cliquant sur Sous-titres au bas de l'écran. Veuillez noter que cette option fonctionne uniquement dans la salle Zoom en direct. Merci et bonne écoute.
大家好，如果你想看字幕，請按屏幕底下嘅 CC 按鈕選擇中文。呢個功能淨係適用於直播。
Don't you love when you listen to a French accent and it doesn't matter whether they're saying take out the garbage, but it actually sounds sexy. I love the international flavor of this company. So ladies and gentlemen, today we're about to hear from our founder, Steve Scott. If you don't know who Steve is, Steve was behind the Total Gym with Christy Brinkley and Chuck Norris, selling billions around the world. I met Steve 16 years ago when he was in the glutathione research space with a brand new breakthrough. Since then, he went into retirement, and then you can't keep a good man down. He had the biggest breakthrough of his entire life, and that's why we're here today. So with that in mind, please join me in welcoming Steve Scott, our founder.
Thank you, Michael, and welcome everybody. It's good to be back on today. Hopefully you have your friends or people you've been sharing this opportunity with on. Let's see, where do we want to start today? There's so many good things. Well, one is a new study out of England. Just came out about 4 weeks ago, and it said young people are aging at a more rapid rate than their parents. They did a test with 104,000 patients, ages 18, I think it was ages 18 to 40, and it turns out they're, let's see, I got to confirm my language here. Let me do that real quick. There. I don't know why that pops up when it does, but it did. They're aging at a more rapid rate than ever. it's really scared the medical world. They find that that there is a very significant increase in diseases resulting from aging, but they're among young people. For example, there's a 17% increase in cancer rates with people under the age of 40. And they've related that to an accelerated aging that's now taking place. What could cause that kind of accelerated aging? Well, frankly, it's a lot of chemicals in our environment. That's one. Cell signals are known to create oxidative stress when those microwaves from the 5G towers come into our body. It interacts with with nitrogen, and it creates a free radical called peroxynitrite, which turns out to be one of the most egregious free radicals we know of. It lives 1 billion times longer than any oxygen-based free radical. Most free radicals are oxygen-based. And it lives so long it can actually move from one cell to another, and that's new. Plus, and this is kind of the part that's really scary, it directly attacks the DNA. Now, why is that scary? Because when the mitochondrial DNA is broken, it enables the cell to mutate and then multiply. And of course, that creates the big C that everybody's afraid of. And that would explain some of the increase potentially among cancer rates. Now, of course, there's also all sorts of things youth do today. Smoking may be down, but vaping is up. And vaping is terrible, terrible, terrible when it comes to free radical production. One puff on a cigarette releases 1 trillion free radicals into your body. And so what are free radicals? Let's start with that. That's a good place. Every cell in our body is attacked by 10 to 20,000 free radicals a day. Every cell, and you got 50 trillion cells. Now, free radicals, what they do is they are scavengers. They steal electrons from the cell. And when they do that, it creates oxidative stress, which is too much oxygen for your cells to process. And that creates a stress that does 2 terrible things. Number one, it causes inflammation in the cell. And inflammation opens the gate to almost every disease. And it accelerates the progression of almost every disease. And so inflammation has always been our mortal enemy. I remember when Time Magazine, probably 40 years ago, had a cover article, Inflammation, Our Deadly Enemy. And so free radicals cause the oxidative stress that caused the inflammation. You say, well, I thought inflammation was caused by things like an injury. That's true, but the injury causes oxidative stress and causes the release of free radicals, and that oxidative stress in turn causes the inflammation. So that's one thing about oxidative stress. The other thing is, here it comes, oxidative stress accelerates the aging of the cell, of the organ, of the tissue. Doesn't matter what cell, doesn't matter what tissue. Oxidative stress accelerates aging. So my question to people is always, do you want your brain to age faster or slower? Do you want your heart? How about your arterial system, your pulmonary system, your lungs, your kidneys, your liver? Do you want them to take longer to age, or do you want them to age more rapidly? It all relates to oxidative stress. And so oxidative stress is caused primarily by free radicals stealing electrons from the cell. And so inflammation and oxidative stress. Now, the way an antioxidant works, antioxidants, when there are enough present. Now, let me say that. When there are enough present. Antioxidants combat oxidative stress and will combat free radicals by donating an electron to the free radical. And when that donation takes place, it sequesters or neutralizes the free radicals so it can't cause damage. It can't cause the oxidative stress when it's been neutralized, and it can't cause the inflammation. Now, the problem is there's a whole host of free radicals, a whole spectrum. There are some that are sourced out of oxygen in our body. Some are sourced out of hydrogen. Some are sourced out of nitrogen. They have different structures, different chemical compositions. All antioxidants, including the ones we hear the most about, CoQ10, vitamin C, vitamin E, superoxide dismutase, catalase, vitamin A, they are all monofocused. That means that they can sequester and neutralize one type, but can't do any of the others. So vitamin C can take out that type of free radical, but it leaves all these bad guys. Vitamin E, that one leaves all of those. CoQ10, okay, they each can handle one type of free radical, but only one type. That's called monofocus. It's kind of like a hotel key that can only open one room and can't open any of the other rooms. On the other hand, glutathione is not monofocused. It is called the master antioxidant because, like a master key that can open every door in the hotel, glutathione can sequester, capture, neutralize all free radicals, regardless of their source, their structure, or their chemical composition. It's the only one that can. It's more than 1 million times more powerful than all other antioxidants combined. It does things that none of the other antioxidants can do. For example, one of the worst free radicals that's now around us all over the place is peroxynitrite. Peroxynitrite is created in our body when the microwaves from a 5G antenna, which are all over every place, when those enter our body, those microwaves, they interact with the nitrogen in our body, and that creates peroxynitrite. Peroxynitrite, like I said, it lives 1 billion times longer than any oxygen-based free radical, and it directly attacks the DNA. In fact, it lives so long it can actually transfer from one cell to another, and nothing can take it out except glutathione. But glutathione can take out any free radical, regardless of its source, its chemical composition, or its structure, and it's the only one that can. Now, so we started with talking about aging. Anybody over the age of 40 faces accelerated aging. We lose about 8 to 15% of our glutathione production per decade starting at the age of 20. So if you're 50, you've got, let's see, 20, 30, 40, 50. At best case, you have 30% less glutathione than you had at the age of 20. Worst case, you have 45% less, okay? But the desperate need of the cells for glutathione never goes down. Glutathione performs 400 functions. Without it, there's no oxygen transfer. Do you need oxygen every day? Absolutely. Guess what? No glutathione, no oxygen transfer. Thankfully, we have enough glutathione in our cells to cover that. That's the most basic need. So that's pretty well covered. But anytime you have a disorder that causes inflammation in your pulmonary system, that uses up the available glutathione at a much faster rate, lowering the reservoir. And consequently, and why does that happen? Because any lung disorder causes your lungs to exercise, to work more, to work harder to deliver the same amount of oxygen to the cells. Well, that harder work is burning up glutathione. So then it doesn't have the glutathione it needs whenever there's a bacterial or viral insult. You see, glutathione is also the key to our immune system. Whenever there's a bacterial or viral insult that engages our body, comes into our body, your immune system goes into a very rapid, it basically turns the switch on in your immune system. it wants to figure out how to kill that virus or bacteria. And it's as soon as possible, it starts producing T cells, the main assassins of the immune system, and B cells, and they target the virus or the bacteria. And the result is they will work if they can reproduce fast enough, because the bacteria or virus is reproducing. And so you've got the bacteria or virus that's growing throughout your body at a very rapid rate. And if your glutathione levels are low, your T cells are reproducing at a slower rate. Guess who wins? There's an article, I've been giving the wrong date. I just read the article again today. There's an article that came out in the May 2020, not 2021, May 2020 edition of the American Chemical Society Journal of Infectious Diseases, which is one of the top level tiers on infectious disease. It was written by a Russian, it was authored by a Russian scientist, and in it he proves his headline. And now there's been other articles that have proved the same thing. And his headline was low levels of endogenous glutathione, that's glutathione produced in your own body, as the cause, and that's pretty strong, as the cause of severe symptoms and death in COVID-19 patients. You see, low levels of endogenous glutathione means you just can't produce those T cells fast enough to kill the virus fast enough. And he shows the links and shows it chemically. It's a great article. It's got a lot of great diagrams you can try to figure out. It's kind of like trying to figure out a map without Google. But it is he made the case, and now there's been other articles that have solidified that. So glutathione's role in the immune system is critical. Everything is rapid response. A friend of mine was in an automobile accident where he was hit by a motorcycle going 100 miles an hour. It hit him on the driver's side, knocked his car over. Of course, the motorcyclist was killed instantly. But my friend woke up in a hospital with every rib broken, with all sorts of other bones broken. And they said, had the first responders had they gotten them to the hospital, even 5 minutes later, he would have died. I asked him, how long did it take the first responders to get to your car? And he said, 3 minutes. So had they taken 8 minutes, he wouldn't be here today. And he's fully recovered now. But it's speed. Speed is critically important, and how fast your T cells and B cells in your immune system can respond and reproduce in response to bacterial or viral insult is entirely dependent on your levels of glutathione. What else? Well, everybody on this call has at least 200 industrial chemicals in your body. And that's a minimum. That's what they tested for. And when they tested a group of 2,000 varied adults in the United States, they tested for 217 industrial chemicals, thinking, does the average person carry 50, 25, 30, what? They found out all 2,000 to the person had all 217. What would have happened if they had tested for 500 or 1,000? Because there's over 85,000 industrial chemicals in our environment. They tested for 217 and found 217. So everybody on this call is pretty safe at realizing you got 217. Well, glutathione is the detoxifier of the cell. And that's critical, and I'll tell you why in a second. But the way it does it, it has this sticky sulfur molecule that's like flypaper or those sticky spider traps, and it sticks to the chemical toxin, and then it takes it out of the cell. Every liver cell in your body has 1,000 times more glutathione than any other cell in your body, because the liver uses glutathione to detoxify itself. You see, the liver is like a landfill or a waste dump. It collects all this toxic waste out of our blood before it can get to the vital organs, and it holds them until it can get rid of them. Well, it gets rid of them using glutathione. So glutathione's critical to liver health as well. So why is that important? Because it's the chemical load in the cell that breaks the mitochondrial DNA. And as long as the mitochondrial DNA is intact, the cell can't mutate. But when it's broken, the cell can mutate and reproduce. And of course, we know that as cancer. Well, glutathione is your body's natural. Remember, glutathione is manufactured right as soon as you're created, it's manufactured by every cell in the body. It is the first line of defense. And unfortunately, like I said, it declines by 8 to 15% per decade, starting at the age of 20. I'll be 76 in a couple months. I think 3 months, maybe. Let's see, June. Oh, 2 months. 2 months. 2 months and a week and a couple days, I will be 76. So I'm getting close to only about 35, 38% of the glutathione that I had at the age of 20, but the assault on my cells never goes down. The desperate need for glutathione never goes down. Detoxification, oxygen transfer, all those things rely on glutathione. And so what else does glutathione do? Well, let's see, we got free radicals, the immune system, protecting the mitochondrial DNA, and of course, anti-aging. You see, when we lower oxidative stress, we lower the source of inflammation. We're not an anti-inflammatory. We are an antioxidant. We reduce oxidative stress. Now, knowing what we know, and by the way, glutathione is the only antioxidant that recycles itself. So it'll donate an electron to neutralize a free radical, and then it makes another one, and another one, and another one. And it does that with the help of one of its amino acids in the chain called L-cysteine. So no other antioxidant can recycle itself. Glutathione also recycles 3 to 5 times vitamin C molecules and vitamin E, making them 300% to 500% more effective if you have enough glutathione. If you don't have enough glutathione, it not only won't recycle C and E, it can shut the door of the cell to vitamin C. So you drink that orange juice, hey, all you do is eliminate it if you don't have enough glutathione. It will not go into the cell. Because the cell doesn't have any glutathione to recycle it and process it. So it's just critical to everything. Well, what does it mean to us every day? Well, number one, our mental focus, our physical stamina, our muscle output, our endurance, all of those, and our mental stamina all rely on glutathione. You know, we hear about these peptides that your body produces, amino acids. Some become proteins, some becomes bipeptides, some become tripeptides. Glutathione is a tripeptide. But they all rely on glutathione. Not one amino acid, your body manufactures about 7,000 of them. Not one can be manufactured without the intervention of glutathione. There is no system, nothing, your thyroid, your endocrine system, nothing is free of glutathione. They all need glutathione. Now, that's the good news or the bad news is we can't make enough of it as we age. The good news is let's go buy some. Well, you can buy it at any health food store, glutathione capsules. The problem is glutathione and its rate-limiting amino acid, L-cysteine, are so fragile that as soon as they hit the stomach, they break. And your cells are smart enough and designed to keep out broken molecules, okay? Can't use it, it keeps it out. So it's worthless. So what else can we do? We can go get an IV. IVs cost anywhere from $150 to $300 per IV. We have a surgeon in Florida. He's a plastic surgeon. And for years, he performed surgery 14 hours a day, 5 days a week. He was relying on 3 glutathione IVs a week, $900 a week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. Somebody told him about our product. He said he would try it. He went cold turkey off the IV and the next day started on our product. And he thought, you got under $2 a serving or a dose. compared to $300 a dose, he thought he would see a big drop in his physical stamina and his mental focus and mental stamina. No drop, they went up. He was shocked. Well, he invited me to come speak to some doctors that he would ask to attend a meeting in his office. So I flew to Miami, which is clear across country from where we are. And he had 42 surgeons in the room. He didn't need me. He gave his testimony. Then his wife gave her testimony. Then his head nurse, who had been wheelchair bound, gave her testimony, and she's not wheelchair bound anymore. And that's all they needed. Everybody was going to sign up. Well, I went ahead and gave the science. They really didn't need me. But it was amazing to hear the testimonies on how he replaced $900 a week in IV glutathione with basically less than $2 a dose. Now, on top of that, what he loved about our product, if he ever started to wane, which he would with an IV, if his mental focus started to go down or his physical stamina started to go down, he could just swish, and within a few minutes, it'd be right back where it was. And he loved that. And that's what athletes see. That's why they like our product. Endurance athletes have seen incredible outcomes. In fact, a group that tested it of sports medicine doctors in Europe, they found we delay the onset of lactic acidosis by 16.7%. And I asked the doctor, who's an orthopedic surgeon, I said, is that good? He said, is that good? It's the biggest game changer in athletic performance ever. He said, I can't put anything into a human body that will delay the onset of lactic acidosis by even 3%. He said, you're giving a distance runner 2 additional kilometers before their body even starts making lactic acid. He said, that means they not only perform better, but it also means a much more rapid recovery. And our athletes report to us that they've seen somewhere between a 70 and an 85% accelerated recovery, which is why they do so well. In fact, with that, Michael, let's go to the Bill Gillespie chart. When we first developed this in 2018, I sent it to a few of my athlete friends, and one of them was Bill Gillespie. He was strength and conditioning coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Then he went with the Liberty University, which was his alma mater, but he had been an amateur weightlifter, which means he's drug tested every meet, since he was 14 years old. Well, let's go to the chart. In 2008, that's where that 804 is, 49. He bench pressed 804 pounds. I think that's about 370 kilos. And from there on, it was downhill for the next 10 years. I called him in 2018. How you doing, Bill? Not good. What's going on? He says, oh, I'm still at Liberty, but my weightlifting's in the tank. I said, why? He said, well, you lose lean muscle. And he said, with all the inflammation I have, my recovery rate is so slow. I used to lift heavy 5 times a week. Now I can only lift heavy once a week. And slow recovery, and my bench is down to 725. You see that right under his 59-year-old. I said, that's not bad. 59 years old benching that. There's nobody in college that can bench that. And he says, I know, but it's a world record for a 59-year-old, but I don't get to compete with the elite guys anymore. And so I said, well, I think things are about to change. I told him how to use Swish. I sent it to him. And here's what happened. Let's go to the next slide. Next slide. There it is. So he started swishing in June of 2018. He was 59 years old. Before he turned 60, as a 60-year-old, he benched 1,050 pounds and kept getting better. He could lift heavy. His recovery was so fast, he could lift heavy 4 and 5 times a week again. But instead of sets and reps of 400 and 500 pounds, he was doing sets and reps of 700, 750, even 800 pounds. Now, at 62, which was in 2022, It was his retirement meet, and on his third attempt, he successfully bench pressed a new world record, 1,129.8 pounds. That's 512 kilos. Amazing. And people say, how can a supplement do that? It's not a performance enhancing drug. The answer is it's reducing oxidative stress. When you reduce oxidative stress, you radically accelerate recovery. You also increase muscle output. You also reduce inflammation. I mean, all the good things that we want to do with an athlete. One athlete that's a friend of mine, 48 years old, he runs an event that would kill anybody just about. It's 8 hours of nonstop pedaling in the mountains on mountain trails, no paved roads. It's called Park City Point to Point. And it's 8 hours. You gain 13,000 feet of vertical. You go up and down 5 different mountains, 72 miles. And it's, like I said, it's 8 hours nonstop pedaling. He used to win that in his 30s, in his early 30s and mid 30s, he would win that event. But then once he passed 45, he stopped trying to win. He just wanted to do it for the fun of doing it. That tells you a little, maybe psychology. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's a wonderful man. Anyway, he saw us right before, he had just turned 48, and he said, how do I use Swish for this event? And we said, Swish the night before, which was that night. It was a Friday night. And then we said, Swish 5 minutes before the race, put some in something you can squeeze into your mouth, a bottle or something, and swish again every hour. That beats the half-life. Well, he did it. And what happened, normally in that first hour, you go into a real deep energy deficit. He didn't go into it. And every time he swished, he said it was like he got a mental and physical reset 8 times during the race. He thought he was doing pretty good, but he wasn't turning himself inside out to win. But when he got to the finish line, there was only one other guy there. He took second at 48 years old. Okay. Once again, what are we doing? Are we enhancing his performance with a steroid or something? No, we're just reducing oxidative stress. That's the glory. Well, guess what? When you can increase glutathione utilization in the cells, not levels in the blood, that's meaningless. You'll see all these guys saying, we increase it by 300% in the blood. Don't pay attention to it. One of the world's top scientists told me that was meaningless. All that counts is what gets in the cell and what gets utilized by the cell. And more in the blood doesn't ensure that at all. Which is why we see the results we see and nobody else sees the results we see, because by nanosizing it, we absorb right into the bloodstream. We bypass the stomach, and you still swallow it because we have some cofactors that aren't destroyed by the stomach. And 70 seconds after it goes into your bloodstream, it's out of your bloodstream. One passes circulation, according to a top nanoscientist at the University of Utah. Well, one of our athletes discovered this makes a huge difference with your face. And I, with my partners, had owned 5 different makeup and skincare companies. And I loved makeup because you could get great before and afters. I loved hair care. We had Cher, the singer, on our hair care product, and sold hundreds of millions of dollars in that. And she was great for that. And you had great before and afters. But skincare, it's really hard to get good before and afters. In fact, here's a challenge to everybody on this call. After this call, go to Google search. In the search bar, type in the name of your favorite skincare or makeup company. So I know Estee Lauder is a glorious brand. So you type in Estee Lauder skincare before and afters. Then you hit search. Then what comes up at the top of the search page is you have a choice of videos or images or whatever. Click on images and you'll see their before and afters of any skincare or makeup company in the world. But you got to put those terms in. The name of the company, skincare, before and afters, click. And you will see that almost all of them, you have to get real close to the screen. You try to see a difference, and in some you see a little difference, but it's not easy. Okay, you're squinting, you're looking, you're magnifying. Well, now look at our before and afters. We found out from this cyclist what we could do for the face. We put some in spray bottles. We sent them out to a test group. This is 2018, and said, spray your face 5 times a day, won't cause your makeup to run, and take before picture and then take after pictures at 4 weeks and 8 weeks. The first one to come back was Sherry. Okay, my mind's a blank. Rhonda Dash's sister, Sherry Warner. And look at the difference. That was 7 weeks. Now, I sent that to my former formulator, who became the head formulator of the company that created Botox, Allergan. And when he saw that, he called me up right away and said, Steve, hate to tell you, she's had a facelift. There's no topical in the world that can do that. I said, John, ours does. He says, that's how? Well, I told him a little bit about how we do it. And he said, Steve, you've got something nobody else has. So let's look at a few before and afters. Next. Okay, that is damage from radon gas. She had it for 7 months. She didn't use our spray. She swished for 3 days. And look what happened. Next. Okay, that was 6 weeks. You see sun damage there. Next. I like this. This is, she has a ruddy complexion. Nothing wrong with that. Peaches and cream is what you want to go for. And usually you work with makeup to try to do that. She didn't do any makeup. Look at that. That's 6 weeks. And she has an even skin tone, peaches and cream. And look how it opened up her eyes, tightened her face, brightened her face. That's what we see. You ought to write these words down. Tighten, brighten, smooth, younger. That's what younger looking. That's what we do for skin. Okay, next. And we do it better than anybody in the world. That was 6 weeks. Look at the difference. Next. This lady said, I can't wait 8 weeks. She sent that to us after 8 days. She owns a skincare salon in Miami, Florida. She said, look at the difference. Where did my pores go? Look how smooth my complexion is. Look how it brightened my skin. Look how it opened up my eyes and tightened my skin. She said, Steve, there's nothing that does what this does. I agreed. Next. This is an 85-year-old man in Toronto, Canada. He had the skin of an 85-year-old man, 40 days of spraying, and I'm sure he swishes also. And his skin looks like it's the skin of a 30-year-old. Next. By the way, hands and neck are really hard to do. And yet, look at that. This lady had a situation that had caused those dark circles. She had had it most of her adult life. She thought she would never be without them. 6 weeks and they were gone. Now, that was swishing and spraying, which we advise. Swishing is from the inside out, and spraying is from the outside in. There you see a little bit of a difference in 4 weeks, smoother and more even skin tone. Next. Here we go. Moving right along. Those were my hands. After 7 weeks, I sprayed about 3 or 4 times a day my right hand, but I didn't spray my left hand. And you can see the difference. It was pretty marked. Okay, next. Okay, this lady, that was 4 weeks, but look, her face is already tighter. Look how even her skin tone is. She's not wearing makeup. And all that was in 4 weeks. Next. Okay, this lady's in Australia, and she said, I love what it's doing for my skin. The only problem is everybody's asking me how I lost my weight because my face is more narrow because it's much tighter. She said, I didn't lose any weight. Well, that's a good problem to have. Next, 4 weeks. There again, legs, 6 days. That's pretty cool. I'm sure if she kept it up, they'd be perfect. Next. Okay, this was only 2 weeks, and she's younger, but look at how even her skin tone is, how smooth and bright it looks. Okay, next. 2 weeks. That's pretty amazing. Look at her neck. Next. Okay, this lady, that was 4 weeks. Look at her neck. Look at her face, around her mouth. That's amazing. Next. Okay, this lady said, I've got old lady legs. I'm over 80. but she went ahead and sprayed them anyway. And I'm sure she was swishing. 10 weeks, and she looks like she's got the legs of a 30-year-old. Next. Okay, that was 7 days, but you can already see the skin tone starting to even out. Next. That was me. I was 71, much younger. You see the inflammation is gone, tighter, brighter, smoother. And I was spraying about 3 to 4 times a day for 7 weeks. Next. Now, I love this lady. She's 60 years old. We met her last year at our 2nd birthday. And that was after 1 month. And it looks like she had a facelift. But look what happened after 6 months. It says 7, but it was really 6. Look at that. I mean, is that crazy? She looked like, and she did. We thought she was probably between 40 and 45. She was 60 years old. Next. Almost done. Crepey legs gone in 12 weeks. Next. Now, I love this lady. That's 80. She's 84, and that's wrong. It was 4 weeks, not 2 weeks. But look at the texture of her skin. Look at her neck. There's nothing in the world that can do that, not even plastic surgery. And, you know, they use fillers and stuff. Man, she would need thousands of dollars of work to get what she got in 4 weeks, just spraying her face. We asked her how often she sprayed. She said she had a strategy. She put spray bottles all over the house, and every time she passed one, she sprayed. I said, how many times do you think? She says, there's no way to keep count. I swished a lot and I sprayed a lot. And boy, did it pay off. Next. Okay, that's enough. Let's come back to me because we're wrapping it up right now. And the reason we show that is not only to show how effective our skincare product is, and it's the most effective skincare product in the world. There's nothing that can touch it. But also, if we're doing that in the living tissue, the dermal tissue of your skin, what are we doing in your other organs? Your skin is your largest organs. It's subjected to cosmic radiation and solar radiation far more than any of your other organs. And to make a difference is huge. And see, right now, there's some solar radiation. There's some cosmic radiation. Cosmic radiation is what you get at night. You fly on an airplane, you get 10 times as much of both at 35,000 feet as you get on the ground. But if we do that with the skin, what do we do for the rest of your body? And the reports we get, I'm sure we have minimally hundreds and probably thousands of doctors involved now in the 69 countries we're in. And the pictures and the results we hear and see are unbelievable. And it makes you want to get everybody you know and everybody they know on this product. And what I love about networking, you tell one person. We have a woman in Omaha, Nebraska. She told a lady about our product. The lady said, it's network marketing. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And this same person in Omaha ended up calling her 8 times. And on the 8th time, she said, okay, I'll try it. That lady now has NUMMI family members on every continent, thousands and thousands of them. And it all started with the Omaha lady just telling one person. That's why you're so important, because you have a chance to make a difference in the lives of people all over the world, not by you going and renting a stadium and telling them about it, just by telling people you know, because the word travels. When something works, people pass it along. You talk about a great movie you see, guess what? Change somebody, the way they feel, the way they perform mentally or physically, change the way they look, and they're going to talk about it. And that's how you impact the lives of people all over the world. We just opened Indonesia a few weeks ago. We had 2,000 in one location, 3,500 in the other. You know why? Because we limited it to that. We were being charged so much per person, we couldn't believe it. So we limited it. But still, even with the limitation, we got 5,500 people in 2 meetings. So, and we got more on the horizon, more product breakthroughs that we've already seen results with. We're excited about announcing that to you in the very near future. If you come to our birthday party, you'll even get some. Our birthday party is online. It's in July. And so we're going to be making available to anybody that comes to the birthday party our brand new product, and it's getting results. We're so excited about it. And you'll also hear about the new markets we're going to open, because we've got some great markets we'll be opening in the fourth quarter. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to you, Michael. I want to thank each of you for being part of our NUMMI family. Steve Scott, the people at corporate, we couldn't reach even 1,000 people by ourselves. You guys are reaching the globe, and we couldn't do it without you. And you're making a difference in people's lives. You change one life, you change a family. You change a family, and you change generations. So you're really important to them and to us. And we love you. And Michael, that's it for now.
Beautiful. Thank you, Steve. Great overview. And for those of you that would like a friend to see what Steve just said, did you know we're live streaming right now on YouTube? So if you go and type in NUMMI on YouTube, then find the NUMMI official channel. You'll see the live stream from Steve right now, so you can share that with anyone. Also on there, you'll see all sorts of different things, trainings, membership, the members updates the other day, all that sort of stuff as well.